often get trapped in the in the technical nature of the conversation, right? So we'll actually try and break it down for them in the easiest form possible, right? Which improves adoption. They could have very functional questions, right? And I think that'll possibly help us establish a much thicker, faster relationship, right? Within within the framework of how they understand issues, right? So that I'll come to you. A quick round of introduction would be very helpful.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, Ashu, and good afternoon to everyone. Thanks, Ashu. Yeah, I've been having 14 years of experience in new product initiations. Currently, I'm looking after the WAN portfolio, which deals with the private WAN connectivity, expanding over cloud, expanded over branches, as well as what just Ramanan has just mentioned, SD-WAN, and how SD-WAN is going to help our specifically MSMEs in a digital transformation and fast track their business continuity that we are also looking to aid in growth of this economy.
Super, gentlemen. I couldn't have asked for a better panel, right? For this discussion. As part of the session, we're going to start with the presentation where we cover the an introduction to Tata Tele Business Services and their offerings. I would invite Raj and Siddharth to come in and lead that presentation for us. Siddharth, over to you, and we're looking forward to a super exciting presentation.
So I hope it's visible.
Yes.
It is.
Hi, good afternoon once again, folks. Thank you for joining me. We'll be quickly taking you through a quick presentation about the SD-WAN offering of Tata Tele and how SD-WAN is going to impact the SME business. But before that, I would request Raj to quickly take you through the offerings and how Tata Tele Business Services in an overall product portfolio is helping out the MSME organization. Raj.
Yeah, good afternoon once again. See, Tata Tele Services is a part of Tata Group company and part of Tata Sons. Everybody knows about it. Okay, we have we operate out of three categories. One is SME assembly, and second is carrier business, and the third is your large enterprise business where we sell voice. So these are we have a 46 offerings, 46 types of offering, but we have bifurcated into this top so-called 5 to 7 into it. Cloud SaaS, we have collaborated with Microsoft for the like all the connectivity solutions like PRI, ILL, SIP trunks, all the connectivity. We have 1.25 kilometer of 1 lakh kilometer of fiber in entire country. All knows about it, and we give all the last miles to everyone. Voice services, we have SIP trunk, PRI. We are the first people to give this voice services like station initiation protocol. It is IP voice for all the call centers, all the large enterprise and small enterprise and so on. So we are the number one for, and we have started with this SIP so-called technology. And we are technology drivers for the various data, voice, and so on. Now, fifth point is IoT. We are more than 16,000 or 14,000 sensors across country. We have all logistic companies, whether I name it Flipkart, all the logistic large companies, Amazon. We have all the tracking solutions for them. We have all schools, education, and so on. Marketing solutions. Also, we have created for, you can say, currently campaign. Currently, the campaign happening on our SMS and the toll-free number in Kolkata, Ahmedabad, everywhere. We have around 50,000, 16,000 channels given to them to do that. It's a marketing solution. Cyber security is a very important part. We have, which is overlay for all the data, voice, and all the video. So we have 4 types of this. We have endpoint security, we have email security, cyber security, and multi-factor authentication. So entire portfolio where there's a data, voice, ICS, that is IoT, cloud, SaaS, and security. We cover all these 46 apart from the whatever we have traditionally on the connectivity part. Yes, Siddharth.
Thank you, Raj, for that introduction to the Tata Tele product portfolio. Coming back to the agenda, we are going to talk about SD-WAN. TTL has a product offering in the name of SD-WAN iFlex, intelligently flexible. How it's going to aid the SME organizations specifically in their growth path. We're going to talk about it. First of all, but just going back to the basics, this is a typical structure of an SME organization. They have their HQs, They have put up their private applications in their own on-premises on Oracle or SAP. They have multiple spoke branches which intend to work on independently also, working on multiple medias, multiple connectivity. And as is the age of the cloud, they are hosting multiple applications on public cloud. That's in this particular scenario. There are pretty much 2 or 3 major activities that an SME organization is very much interested. Most important one is business continuity. Second one is business resilience in terms of connectivity. And the third important aspect is security. Now, these pieces have to be intertwined together in a particular solution wherein an SME organization can ensure not only their service goes on even in pandemic times, but also the end customers are also getting delivered a high quality and high grade of services from an SME. That will also aid in their own growth path in this digital age. So this is how SD-WAN would be working on. First of all, most important criteria for an SD-WAN deployment would be the WAN selection. With SD-WAN, it comes the best path selection or ability to deploy and run traffic on the most reliable connected links, be it in MPLS, be it on ILL or any other type of internet media. Second piece, and I've just mentioned, business continuity. Now with SD-WAN comes the inherent nature of ability to do failovers, build up the WAN resiliency, as well as work on multiple WAN level connectivities and in a very last mile and service provider agnostic. So you're not dependent on a one particular service provider for all your locations. And that's the nature of the business for SMEs. They're spread across India, they're spread across regions from tier 2 to tier 4 locations also. And that is where they are looking to work across an agnostic solution, which is what SD-WAN delivers. Security is becoming more and more organizations are getting dependent on public networks, public internet as well. So security becomes a core structure. And that is where organizations are hoping or targeting their branches to work in an independent manner, but yet aligned with the uniform policy of an organization. That is where security comes in. So today we have not only started talking about SD-WAN just for the WAN, we are talking about a secured SD-WAN piece that is to be available to the end customer. Then there is a cloud hosted. There has to be cloud applications, and people are hosting a lot of applications on cloud. However, in that particular scenario, you are looking to target a secure cloud experience for the organization for their SaaS applications hosted on the cloud. Obviously, when there is a split in terms of application hosting in private and public domains, then there has to be an optimized traffic steering according to the availability of the bandwidth and according to availability of the connectivity. That is where SD-WAN plays a critical role. It defines the traffic steering, it shapes up your traffic as per the best available connectivities and optimizes your network for performance, in turn delivering an enhanced user experience around this. So Tata Tele Business Services has introduced in that sense an upcoming product SD-WAN iFlex, intelligently flexible. It brings out all the intelligence that is required to run a full thoroughbred SD-WAN or WAN deployment solution. Yet for SME organizations specifically, we are bringing the flexibility. This is powered by Fortinet, who are a global leader in cybersecurity. And I just don't need to read through, but the number says or they are highly rated by Gartner, both in the WAN edge capabilities as well as in the Magic Quadrant. They are in the customer choice as the #1 rated, identified by Frost and Sullivan also, and a global deployment of 30K plus SD-WAN edges. That says a lot in terms of the capabilities that we are bringing in partnership with Fortinet. That is a completely power storm that we are bringing in terms of the SD-WAN deployment, and that is for the SME organization. So how this SD-WAN is intended to impact in the digital age? First of all, let us look at the 5 key criteria that an SME organization is looking for. Management. They want to work on their core setups, core business part. However, the connectivity piece, which is critical for their setup, has to be simplified for them to manage it. And then agnostic in a multi last mile and multi-service provider environment, they want a simplified network management, a single-ended dashboard, or a single pane of glass. And that is where SD-WAN will make a major difference in creating a simplified setup for them across their network-wide presence. With resiliency, ability to high availability across multiple WAN connectivities ensures SD-WAN delivers a high uptime. Digital age is all about the applications, and it is ability of a network to identify the critical applications and respond to the dynamic demands of those application traffic has to be critically built up. So SD-WAN iFlex delivers that capability. Now, with all these deployments, people are looking for insights and visibility to ensure that there is optimal utilization of resources that is happening. SD-WAN comes with bundled with a granular enhanced level of visibility at a granular level that gives the necessary insights as well as ability to respond to those insights and take optimal decision making. And as I've been saying all through, security has become a major pillar in terms of organization setup, specifically for connectivity. And that in that form, you need to have, even if your branches are set up in a fragmented setup, you need to ensure that there's a uniform policies being there across for WAN as well as security management. So SD-WAN iFlex brings in all these propositions in one go for the organization. It talks about a resilient best path selection capability, a simplified and a very concise centralized control hosted by Tata Tele in all your branch setups, integrated and unified security to ensure that all your branches are there connected, or even if on a public network, they are able to serve a highly scalable last mile and service provider agnostic setup. Ensures with application aware routing to give an agile business policy modification capability. Obviously, with SD-WAN, everybody is expecting a lot of visibility, and yes, we are delivering those in terms of enhanced analytics as well as ability at a granular level. Ensuring all of this is in turn ensuring that there's increased efficiency and cost reduction for an organization. They will be able to drive out their key goals while the SD-WAN takes care of the most critical aspect or asset, which is the connectivity that needs to deliver on those goals. So SD-WAN iFlex, in just a summary quickly on the SD-WAN iFlex, it ensures that there is a business continuity, which is delivered with building up the WAN resiliency. SD-WAN iFlex is being offered on an OPEX model, reduces the CAPEX burden on immediate basis on the SME organization. Very critical for SME organizations, specifically in the post-pandemic era. Ensures it gives a simplified setup across all the branches, a setup which is having a control over all branches as well as visibility network-wide. Unified offering, security is integrated in single setup of a WAN offering as well as an ability to do a next generation firewall functionality. Ensures that there is a high experience, high end user experience, application aware routing features, advanced level, give that kind of experience, identifies your critical applications, optimize your network performance for delivering that kind of experience for your end users. All this is coming from a brand which is in partnership with Tata Tele Business Services and Fortinet. Both are stalwarts in their respective domains, joining hands to deliver the SD-WAN iFlex services. Last but not the least, this is all coming in a fully loaded advanced WAN features and application optimization features, which is a fully loaded SD-WAN deployment for the SME organization. That's all from my side. Ashu, back to you. Ashu, you're on mute.
Siddharth, thank you for that incredible presentation, right? And summarizing it so quickly. I think a couple of points that you highlighted in the process, which was that of continuity and resilience, is just so much more important in today's times. That I think businesses have just too little a time to act and react, right? While of course they have the challenges of managing their backend, right? And that backend could mean their resources in people, their administrative activities, their suppliers, the entire value chain that we talk about, right? So I think businesses are now getting into a very, very difficult environment and the expectations are improving, which is, of course, the larger impact of that is, of course, better, improved, right? We're going to have a very evolved business ecosystem, right? We're going to have a very agile business ecosystem, something that we've always wanted. Siddharth, you've highlighted this enough through the course of your presentation, right? But I'll go on to ask you this once again. And I would want you to bring up a case study, right? I mean, you are literally at a war footing, right? When it comes to delivery of a lot of these services, I'd love you to bring up a case study My question, Siddharth, to you is, how will SD-WAN, which is very elementary and kind of it's possibly be you'll possibly be repeating yourself on a bunch of things, but I would want, like I said, I would want you to bring in a case study here. How will SD-WAN impact SME, MSME segment, right? A business owner who's sitting out of, say, an area which is outside of the city, right, not necessarily connected. What are we talking about? Or what kind of an impact are we talking about? You've highlighted some of that. I'd love you to bring up a case study and help us understand the impact that this could create.
Right on, Ashu. I think the most critical aspect, and Tata, just I'll pick up from the experience that I've gained on Tata Tele. We are essentially a connectivity provider. Our roots are there in terms of providing connectivity. And there's a host of SME organizations who work on our connectivity. And let me pick up a case study. Let's pick up manufacturing segment as a typical case study. How is the manufacturing organization in terms of spread of their locations are constructed? While their HQs and point of sales might be in core urban areas and connected areas, it's not necessarily their warehouses, their manufacturing units, or even your on point of sales, which are in retail markets or retail setups. They will be connected, or even their supply chain. Now, these are spread out locations which are not necessarily in the urban area, in a prime area where they are. And then in addition, look at the infrastructure that they have to host. They have to host a CRM, they have to host an ERP application, supply chain management, and other necessary setups that they need to host for interconnectivity. The branches, including voice traffic also. Now, look at this gamut, look at the complexity that not all locations will be connected by. Not all locations will be on a SLA backed up connectivity. They have to depend on connectivity which can be from different broadband service providers, or even in worst case scenarios on LT also. How do they ensure? The most critical part is how do they ensure business uptime? How do they ensure connectivity? And how do they ensure that this is done in a seamless manner? They don't deploy too many resources just to manage connectivity, which is not their core structure or core ask of their business. That is where SD-WAN comes in. It delivers the business uptime across multiple. It delivers a lot of capabilities which simplifies their management of these things, ensures their business is always on, and as per requirements responds to that. So this is where SD-WAN comes into play. And in addition, you can build in a whole lot of advanced level features like next generation firewall being built in, ability to do advanced WAN management or critical application identity. All of this is building up into a clear path where it simplifies the setup for a manufacturing.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So that, I was recently in a very, very interesting conversation, right? And this was with with a CEO and promoter of a slightly largish MSME, right? And of course, COVID kind of disrupted their entire supply chain, right? And this is a play with about 16, 17 industries and about 1,000 plus last mile retailers, right? And they are one of the category leaders in that space that they operate in, right? Now, as soon as COVID hit, right, of course, that made the entire management relook at the entire, the scene, and they, the first reaction was to implement technology, right, without necessarily knowing what to do and what not to do, right? And a lot of those points that you highlighted in the process, they eventually did that, which was the first 6 months of trying to sort of build the right kind of framework setup. Unfortunately, there was no integrated play which was actually helping them, right? There was no unified play which was actually helping them. So there were like a variety of these vendors that they were dealing with. It took them about 6 months, which was the first half was implementation. The second half was essentially, trying to solve for what they'd implemented, right? Because they didn't know, none of those stakeholders in the ecosystem knew how to sort of, work with it, calibrate it. There was little handholding which was happening. There were independent systems that existed, and they were stuck with the same problem, right? Of operating in silos, right? And it just became such a task for them. So now I'm going to move into that next question, right? Which is, what is that core offering, right? Or the value proposition of SD-WAN iFlex, right? What would you highlight, right? So for example, many people who are going to be watching this are essentially people who are like, listen, let's cut to the chase. What are the top 3 or 4 things which are part of the core offering, right? So what would that be? I'd love you to take us to that.
See, you have very rightly mentioned, be it large organization, be it medium or small and medium. So am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Yeah. So you have very rightly said, be it large organization, be it small and medium organization. connectivity and your network setup becomes the nerve center of how you execute, how you plan to execute.
Sure.
So it's not necessary with the traditional connectivities that we had in years gone by that organizations had a singular setup or a setup that was uniform across the organization.
Right.
Not every SME organization will have that kind of a skill set to execute that, or the what you call the resources to execute, because they are spread across so many locations, and it is not that they will be able to hire such resources on the go. So that is where SD-WAN becomes a key criteria for them to adopt in their connectivity piece, which ensures howsoever where they are connected, whatever locations they are located on. That is where they come in. And talking about the key points that we bring into the table, first of all, and most importantly, the aspect of ability to deploy business continuity or WAN, or which is delivered through the WAN.
Right.
Which is working on multiple last miles, ability to work and inculcate the advanced man management features to ensuring delivering that asset. The second important piece is SMEs are starved for cash. Post pandemic, that they are also impacted in terms of capex investment. They want to spread their risk across a number of years. And that is where we are bringing in a hosted model, an OPEX based model, wherein they don't bear the brunt immediate basis. They first enjoy the fruits, and then they start looking at how effective that kind of a setup is. And third important piece is obviously security, ability to identify the core setups, applications, and the host of features that an SD-WAN setup can bring. Like people have heard about zero touch. These are all jargons, but these are actually very helpful in setting up an organization into a uniform setup. You just mentioned these are random setups, isolated setups, and they're finding it difficult or challenging to get them into one piece. That is where SD-WAN plays a critical role, getting everything sorted out for them. In SD-WAN iFlex, I'll just pick few more seconds on that. iFlex, we offer a powerful combination of managed, secure SD-WAN. That is where, and that is powered by Fortinet, who is a global leader in these deployments and support also, and well recognized. And Tata Tele Business Services, with their managed services and experience of providing connectivity, we bring a clear ability to deliver these kind of services specifically focused on SME organizations. That is our clear focus on to deliver.
Amazing, Siddharth. I think thank you for sort of just kind of easing it out for us, right? With these two questions. I have had the opportunity. I mean, I've been associated with Tata Tele Business Services for a reasonable amount of time. We've done a lot of these sessions together, right? And I think one thing which kind of stands out in the entire scheme of things, right, is the commitment to ensuring and solving for SMEs and MSMEs, right? Has been absolutely consistent, right? I think Tata Tele Business Services, there are a lot of players that are in the market, right, who otherwise was just so much more difficult for these players to go out and communicate with the SMEs, MSMEs, right? And vice versa. Tata Tele Business Services has been able to, beautifully bring all of this together and offer it in such an amazing, package it such a beautiful way, right? Which just becomes so much more optimal, right? It's so much more functional. And, the good part is, and I'm sure a lot of promoters will agree with this, right? Tech used to be a lot of cost, right? I think the way you're kind of doing it is kind of, it's basically become just so much more efficient, right? I can scale it as I go along. I have that support of a relationship management structure, which helps me, uncomplicate things, right? Otherwise, a lot of this is difficult to comprehend. You just get, kind of get trapped in the, in the lingos, right, of the industry. But Siddharth, thank you so much for doing this, right? I think it's an incredible piece, and thank you for doing this presentation. I think we're going to dive further, right, of this partnership, right, between Tata Tele Business Services and Fortinet. And we're going to do that in the second half of our, this discussion today that we've set out, a panel discussion, right, for which I would love to have Raj step up. Raj, ladies and gentlemen, is the head of solutions SME MSME and carrier for Tata Tele Business Services, and Mr. Chidambaram, who is with us. He's the director, sales, SD-WAN, and Fortinet. Gentlemen, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Same here. It's a pleasure, and it's a very, very interesting conversation. And I'm sure that this an hour which the people on this call is going to be really, really business beneficial for all of us.
Absolutely, and we're going to uncomplicate a lot of things, right? That's particularly what I'm excited about, right? I think it's just so much more important to make that impact and communicate that impact, right? Raj, I'm going to come to you first in this in this part of our discussion, right? And it's very important for I think each one to understand. I mean, of course, I have mentioned some of it at the outset of our conversation, right? Why, for example, digital transformation is important, right? But I'd love to hear from you, right? I mean, you're somebody, you're a man with a mission, right? You're a man on the front. You and a large team that you handle is dealing with these businesses day in day out, right? You understand these problems more than I think any of us will, right? We are people at a distance, right? We are more observers. What I'd love to understand something is as basic as, right, what and why digital transformation? Why do businesses need it? Right, as fundamental as that. I know you've answered this on many occasions. It's possibly cliched for you, but I'd love you to run us through this again. Why is it important?
Thanks. So, thank you, Ashu. And we deal on SME and mid market.
Mhm.
I want to add what Siddharth said, and then I'll come to digital transformation. There are 3 points why Tata and 48. One is that we have a 200 channel partners across country to deal with only SME market.
Mhm.
One. Two is that we have 1.3 lakh kilometer of fiber where we can maintain a lot of good SLAs for any last mile. Okay. And third is that we are dealing with 30,000 customers, any given time 18,000 customers, any given year 18,000 customers we bill in. Like Mr. Ramanan said that we have 30,000 customers across. So this good combination, okay, is actually going towards a digital transformation.
Right.
Okay. And now let me demystify digital transformation, because digital transformation is a very big word, very big word. And people say only digital transformation means only large companies can do and all that. Let me bifurcate into two.
Right.
What is digital transformation? Digital transformation takes place when digital technology is integrated into product, process set, and assets of business. That is a very bookish this one.
Right.
What is the purpose of this is that we improvise what? Customer experience, expand a new market like the way we are doing it for Sd-Wan, and then managing a risk towards that. That is
Interesting.
3 points. Mid market people are SME are very important for this risk management, because they feel they're dependent on partner who and do end to end, who can help him for this transformation.
Sure.
Okay. And then why this is coming up? So why this is coming up is, forget about a large customer, large people who are hiring a CISO and CISOs and all these people. For SME, the workplace is consistently changing. Consumer expectation is continuously actually rising. And it is critical for companies to equip themselves in innovation and efficient digital tools, not a transformation. Digital tool can take care. Okay. And I only know who's driving this. We call it the GAFA. GAFA is a Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Apple.
Right.
There are 4 people who is actually every day doing this internet modernization, and you are actually compelling to buy tools, and you are compelling to buy tools, communication tools, and all that, which now is become an indispensable particular thing. So digital transformation is nothing but buying a tools which can actually take care of everything. You don't have to really getting into large things like, okay, fine, this is the big thing. I will only rattle down only the 6 benefits of this, okay, which will demystify what I'm trying to do.
Sure.
Operation becomes more customer centric. It's very, very important for SME, because more the large customers, brand takes care, large corporates, but small customer centricity is very important. Operations are consolidated and time optimization. This is very important for saving a cost to the small organization.
Okay.
Customers, and these are the things I have taken it from the SME market. These are not my nomenclature or my English.
Sure.
This I have taken it from, because we are dealing with large customers, and I'm on the ground. I'm working with this customer. Customer strategy is enhanced. Strategy is again a big word, but strategy for SME to actually run the business for 3 years, 2 years, and get the thing done. The transformation provides a universal employee and customer experience. Now, mid-market are actually getting into the employee satisfaction and customer experience rather than in a product experience platform.
Right.
Data transformation drives a database insights. Now people are actually getting into a database. We heard AI, ML, and all that, which are big words,
Sure.
There are small equipment like Oracle-based Eloqua is coming out and all that, which gives a very good insight of data and which actually saves a good cost in digital transformation.
Right.
This is what I wanted to demystify entire digital transformation in terms of benefit and the why and what.
Very interesting, Raj. Thank you for doing that. Mr. Sharma, I'm going to come to you, right? Now, I think it's important to understand. We've been talking about the shift that has happened, right? And that's on the consumer side, which is actually kind of, I think, moved every single stakeholder, right? It's kind of redefined the role of every single stakeholder in the process, right? And I think trends have become just so much more important. I'd love you to take us through some of those trends that you are seeing in your capacity, right? Or you kind of say preparing for going forward, right? And like I said, right, so next 2.5, 3 years are going to be very, very interesting. They're going to be very challenging. They're going to be very cumbersome. So, what are some of those trends that you are looking for and preparing for?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? So, any technology, particularly in the SME space, is the two important areas. When you touch upon it, becomes very successful.
Sure.
One is cost, another is complexity, right? When you address these two, your technology adoption will be very, very faster,
right.
And the customer do see the benefit of adopting to the technology.
Mm-hmm.
What is happening in the IT industry today is there is a transition, or probably I would say that IT landscape shift which is happening, because from the core traditional methodology of having the core apps in one single place, which is so-called the data center, and then we had the DR, which is created for redundancy and operational efficiency and all those things. And then there is a set of networking, which was defined, and then the security which was defined. That's a traditional way which has been happening for ages.
Right.
But what is happening today, the core of any IT is the application.
Mm-hmm.
The application landscape migration, which is actually pushing us, or every one of us, to think differently. Mm-hmm. Because today applications are no more like the earlier days where I used to have it in my PC or a laptop or in one single location, where I have to secure, I have to kind of have a very high performance compute, storage, etc., etc.
Sure.
Apps are moving towards SaaS. Majority of the SaaS, even today is happening on a SaaS based application, right? Because and SaaS is not new. I would say from the day one of this whole internet thing started, everyone used to have Yahoo Mail or Gmail and Outlook Mail, etc., etc. But nobody knows where is the servers are residing, and that is nothing but an application which is given to you for your usage. And where is that data? It is securely saved somewhere, and it is available for you to access whenever you want. And that's exactly which is happening in the enterprise platform today. Most of the apps are moving towards the SaaS. And even your core application, you have the flexibility and freedom today to move that application from a physical to a hybrid cloud or onto a public cloud. Sure. So net, what's happening is, because of this shift on the apps and data, which is core for any enterprise users, because that is what relevance to your business. Mm-hmm. There is a shift which is required, the way at which your network and security is being designed. The shift is very, very simple. First thing is, network and security is one integrated solution today. And particularly, everybody has their business run across. It's not in just one place. People are spread across. How easier I can able to make my end users to access my application and data in the most simplest form, and at the same time in the most secured way. And that is what is driving. So what we are doing from Fortinet, being the leaders for many, many years, and the powerful technology player when it comes to anything to do on the cybersecurity space, we have this fabulous portfolio of the secure SD-Wan, which we have built. And what's in it for MSME and SME customers is to bringing this network and security together and make it very, very simple. The complexity should never be there when it comes to any technology adoption. So we have been working towards in terms of simplifying our solution, get everything in one single solution, whether it is to do with your firewall or your SD-WAN, or bring your routers and zero trust network, like, even your switching, your AP, and everything is in one single appliance at your branch location. Your cost of adoption is, like, very, very less, because in the industry we have seen you have been traditionally buying all these as point products. There are two problems: is the cost of acquiring these products, and two is managing these point products. It's very difficult for customers, whether you have 10 branches or 100 branches or 1,000 branches, the complexity remains the same, right? So when I'm simplifying this whole thing and giving it as one single solution, and which can be easily centrally managed by the administrator, it becomes very, very easier for the organizations to adopt. And more importantly, like, when we are as an OEM vendor working towards bringing new features which can be helpful for customers, somebody has to take this to the customer, and that's exactly partners like TTSL is doing for us, adopting, enabling these features and functionalities, how it can be helpful for the customers, and that's exactly the role which TTSL is doing for us.
Interesting. You walked me to my next question, right? Which was essentially where I wanted to talk to you about this partnership, right? That's coming together. And like I said, I'd mentioned it earlier as well, right? I mean, we've been very, working very closely with TTSL, right? And, and I think that the passion and the motivation, right, to ensure that they solve for a lot of these SMEs, MSMEs has been absolutely phenomenal. It's been overwhelming, right? I think it requires for a lot of, grit and commitment to kind of cater to that, right? Because, our SMEs, MSMEs are, people who, are it's a difficult set, right, to address, right? There are a lot of those concerns that are there. And then you have to tackle with a lot of regional problems as well, right? But Raj, I'm going to come to you. What does this, partnership between, Tata Tele Business Services and Fortinet mean, right? What is it that you intend to and your team intends to achieve out of this, right? What's the kind of impact that we're going to see, with this partnership?
Yeah, good. See, being in a solution architect, being in on a field along with sales, always give solutions to them. They don't sell product.
Sure.
They sell solutions. Okay, I don't understand products. I understand switching and routing. That is what I feel. SD-WAN is again not a product; it's a solution. Because when I'm going to customer is not asking me, give me 2 Mbps, 5 Mbps. They give me my application is there. It has to work.
Right.
It has to work. It has to be securely work. And 48 is are the people who are giving me both. Who is giving me a secured box which can give me a seamless bandwidth application, not bandwidth, to work for the customer.
Right.
Okay. Now bandwidth does not have color right now. Bandwidth is not a game. Application is a game.
Right.
So bandwidth, they don't require. They don't know how bandwidth is coming. That's why the software-driven thing is coming up. They don't know. They like cloud also is coming up like that. They don't know where my server is installing. I don't want to see my server. I want to see my application to work on my laptop or wherever. Same thing in SD-WAN. They want to know my application is to work with secured and given by the good SLAs.
Right.
So these two companies are the people, because we go to a last mile, up to the last mile. 1.3 lakh kilometer fiber is a big one.
Right.
We name the carrier, Vodafone, Airtel, Datacom, all last miles is taken by us also.
Right.
And we and vice versa. So what is the reach? Reach to the last customer. Like in pandemic, I'll take only a few seconds. Like pandemic, there are two people know health companies are doing well. Health people do well, payment gateways. But I think two companies did a very well. One is a logistic.
Right.
Second is in BFSI, there is a banking, not FSI.
Right.
Banking, the NBFCs, we could deal with these kind of products there rather than giving us a Cisco box or some box to them. This is what this partnership is working, and we'll grow. I want to reach up to the 50,000 customers what we have.
Interesting. Mr. Janu, I'm going to come to you, right? Of course, Raj has given us his perspective, right? In terms of, what is it that, they want to achieve with this partnership, right? What's your take, right? You're an important stakeholder in this partnership, right? What is it that you intend to achieve with this partnership, right? Why is this partnership so critical especially in a changing environment like the one we are in.
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, like so Fortinet has been traditionally a partner-centric organization.
Sure.
And we have a product, we have like, various features and functionalities. Someone has to understand the customer pain areas and stitch or bring the right technology or the features functionalities which is required for the customers. I may have some 400 features in my appliance or the solution, but what's required for that particular customer is something which is determined by our partners, because they are front ending. They understand, like, multiple MPLS, the cost of the MPLS. We all know it's just not only India, across the globe. Why? It's not against the MPLS, but the cost of accessing that application, is it worth paying so much? Why can't we kind of adopt to some technology which can bring in internet, ILL or broadband or 4G, 5G moving forward? Like, so that's the way our business partners work in terms of bringing the optimum solution to the customer. And particularly when we talk about the MSMEs, the cost of the IT adoption shouldn't impact their profitability or their business growth. So we always have to work towards a domain where IT has to handhold, and which should be the business arm for their business growth. Our country has been extremely proud in the last few years, the kind of push our government is been spending, not only just focused by words, by even funding and all the other encouragement our government has been doing specifically for MSMEs and the MSC customers. We see a huge growth in terms of the right technology adoption. And specifically the Sd-Wan is one of the technology where we have seen in various different customer segments, because everybody has different business pain areas. Our partners address, like, okay, you have this particular challenge, like, having so many branches, managing these point products in the branches is really painful. So they go and propose our solution to the customer, and that's where customers see a huge benefit on just not only managing in terms of the overall TCO reduction as well. And that's where we see Tata Tele Services as one of our very, very critical business partners, specifically focusing on the MSMEs and the SME customers, taking our solution to the customers.
Super. Thank you so much, Mr. Chidambaram, for, I think what you've communicated is just so much more important, right? I think, any great company with a great product needs an equally relevant and a smart, sharp partner, right? Who can, help them amplify and reach the customers much faster. And I think that's essentially, what you seek in this partnership. And that's interesting to know. My sense is, I think with the kind of reach that Tata Tele Business Services has, right, across this segment, I think this change and shift is going to happen much faster. Raj, I'm going to come to you, right? And it's important to understand, this particular aspect, right? When we talk of digital transformation, automatically comes the question of cybersecurity, right? Now, I think through the course of conversation, we've continued to talk about, continuity, business continuity, and business resilience, right? And today each business, right, while of course we're talking about transformation, also runs the risk of disruption in a negative way because of lack of, say, security, right, or awareness and understanding around security. It just becomes so much more important, right? How do you see it, right? How important is it to communicate that to the large audience, right? Their awareness. I mean, how do you see that awareness around, say, for example, cybersecurity just becoming, more pertinent across all conversations, all communications, and business owners need to understand that all the more seriously, right? What's your take on this?
So, see, cybersecurity, people will always take that cybersecurity, email security, or the endpoint security is the same. No. Okay, there are different securities. Email and cyber is separate.
Sure.
So what is the role? I just want to understand, in one of the MSME, this one I've explained this one, and I'm giving you some data points, which is actually data points take only a few seconds, but I would like to give you data points which are and before that, technology improves the company operations, and this results into improving customer experience. Right. There are some points. There are 230,000 new malware samples are being launched every day. I'm not actually scaring you. Okay. There are every 39 seconds there hacking happens. Okay. and affecting one of the three individual organizations across globe. There has been 38,000 records stolen and database breaches every happen daily basis.
My God.
Okay. 1,58,727. These are actually in my mind because I just made a statement earlier conference.
Sure.
Okay. There are, and very scary, 1,58,000 records per hour, and around 44 every second, every day happens, record stolen. Okay. And then actually the report also that states that one of the report, approximately $1 trillion is spent on this particular thing for last 3 years. Okay? Why it is lagging? Then I will tell you how to do it. There are 4 to 5 parameters why security is lagging in our MSME. But MSME feels security is a cost.
Sure.
No, it is not a cost. It's like a buying insurance. I know my points, and I have to fill up those loopholes and do it.
Sure.
Organization knows that cybersecurity is critical, but MSME feels that they are comforted with the requirement. Okay? Many of the SMEs feel that cybersecurity slows down my digital transformation, which is a myth. Okay, why it is lagging, I'm telling you, and then I'll come back to within 2 seconds. Some organizations do not seem to have a sense of urgency, but they feel security I can do later because this sounds to be new technology. No, it is not new technology. It is essential overlay. Cybersecurity is not a simple process. Okay, but it is actually the process. If you follow it, is the simplest project on entire technology.
Okay,
making a business case, cybersecurity the IT people feel that if I add a cybersecurity, my capex will go up and my organization will not allow that. Instead of that, if they go to an organization CEO and say that, sir, these are the benefits and these are the intangible benefits, or the data can be saved, and I will be able to do it. Then mobile technology has changed the entire security parameters, because work from home or hybrid technology is actually the thing which is actually allowing you to get away to this one. So mobile IoT has actually secure perimeter is actually increased. Cyber security perimeter is actually practically all over the places now because of the mobility and the IoT. That is all viruses, firewall, they are not created inside. They're coming from mobile. Mobile or the IoT. How can organization address this issue? Well, they only want 2, 3 seconds.
Sure.
Okay, only 4, 5 points which MMSC should understand. Data and information are undervalued. We should value the data and information of my company. Security should involve from the start digital information in an organization, not transformation. In information. Cybersecurity should be embedded into company network. It actually has to be processed. Why is large company Tata are there for a longer time? Because we are embedded into our system. Treat cybersecurity as an asset and strength and not as a liability.
Right.
Okay. It's not an additional cost. Sure. It is also important to have a CISO. CISO means I mentioned that the officer for this one who actually day and night takes care of this. Right. Cybersecurity is essential for the successful now digital transformation. If I don't take care of all these things, I will be not in a race of digital transformation, which trends are going on. And again, security transformation is a combination. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry on both the parameters. You buy systems like Sd-Wan and all that on a secure backbone platform like Tata Tele.
Right.
And these are the, actually speaking, I'm not talking as a bookish in this one. I'm trying to see whatever I have gathered from the various conferences which I speak. This is what I feel we should have. Yeah, sure.
Raj, I think you have a very important role to play, right? I think because I think all of what you're kind of saying, right, is just so much more important, pertinent, right? And I think it requires a mindset shift, more importantly, right? And that's the reason I say that your role is so much more important. I think you have to be talking to many promoters yourself. I think you have to. I think, and that's possibly going to help these the lower rung to communicate this better, right? Because for promoters, essentially in SME, MSME, it's ROI first. Everything has to be it has to be measured, right? And a lot of occasions, they're not in a position to anticipate the kind of losses that they could incur, right? Because of the discontinuity that could possibly come in, right? So that's the reason I say your role is going to be so much more important, Raj. I think you should be doing a lot more often, right? Mr. Sharma, I'm going to come to you, right? Now, I think Raj has highlighted some of these very key points, right? What are some of the top features, right? For the customers, right? Especially SME, MSME customers, the segment that we talked about, must look for in a secure SD-WAN solution. I think that's number one. Also, what I would love you to highlight is the differentiator, right? So, what are the key differentiators, for example, in your offering, say vis-a-vis what's available in full, in half, right? I'd love you to spell out some of those differentiators that are there, in the offering that is there by 40.
Yeah. So the first thing is, I just wanted to highlight the word SD-WAN itself is transformed already to secure SD-WAN. Okay. Because the traditional SD-WAN is no longer going to help customers, as Raj rightly mentioned. Right. Every components and elements of the our IT infrastructure has to be fully protected. Sure. And that's where the secure SD-WAN taking care of just not only the links perspective, but also making your branches independent. In earlier days, what happens, all your traffic has to come to data center because that's where I have the core security box. He decides whether right traffic, wrong traffic, authentication, what internet website he should access, all those intelligence was built. So Fortinet has very brilliantly has developed this secure SD-WAN. Even on a very, very smallest appliance, you have the fullest capability of all the anti-malware, anti-phishing, web filtering, URL, content filtering, zero trust network access, everything, and the full-fledged SD-WAN functionality with advanced routing. Everything is embedded on one single solution. So you are making your branch independent. Number one, all these configurations, everything, instead of just doing it at the central side. When you do it in the central side, what happens is all your 10 or 100 employees from all the way from branch has to travel over there, and that is where you require a huge pipe and and the security to which has to be built in with. So reduce your complexity, make everything decentralized. That's called the mesh topology, which we are building for our customers. And that will help you in terms of taking local decisions, because as I said today, it's more of SaaS application. For me to do a Zoom call or a WebEx call or Teams call, why I have to go to data center when I am sitting in one of the branch? Why can't my branch decide me and put me across directly so that I can save that traffic? This will significantly increase your user experience from any application, data, voice, video access, right? That is something which we have brought in, which will be very, very helpful for customers. And if I have to differentiate, there is absolutely no differentiation because there is no other vendor today in the industry. While there are so many vendors, but they are all only talking about point products. I will do only SD and SD-WAN. I will do only security. I will do only ZTNA. But there are no vendors who can able to give this complete holistic one solution which Fortinet is offering to our customers at all levels, whether it is at the branches or at the data center. And if you are in the transformation mode or already transformed, it's just not the appliance. The entire solution is available as a virtual machine, and it is available on all the public clouds. All the public clouds, our solution is available as a service. So it's very important to note that the cost of adoption of our oil, I'm giving all these things, what I'm going to put a big value for that. Customers cannot see the value of this cost adoption. So we are very, very clearly priced in such a way that even MSME customers, should adopt to this technology. And most importantly, our partners like TTSL, bringing this as a OpEx managed services. As I said, ours is a piece of the overall solution. They bring as a overall solution and make it as one single SLA with the managed services offering to the customers. And that's where this become really, really interesting and compelling solution for customers to adopt is what I feel.
Amazing. Mr. Janam, I would love you to give me a case study, right? So, of course, what you said is, is at a much larger level. It's a macro level, right? I think it's something which is relevant for, I think, every promoter, owner, right, of that SME, MSME, and all the stakeholders, right? I would love you to do a case study, right? Because like I mentioned to Raj's point, right? It's very important. An Indian entrepreneur thinks ROI first, right? Traditional businesses think ROI first, right? They will always try and cut cost, right? I think we are always in a zone where we want to reduce the cost of doing business, right? Tech is, for some reason, right, always be considered to be a cost of doing business, right? They tend to delay it till they can, right? Till it just doesn't become a very large problem for them to immediately address. I'd love you to take us through a case study, right? What is the kind of impact example that has happened? if you could pick up one industry and give us one use case, that'll be amazing for, I think, many people who are going to be watching this to understand the impact much better.
Raj, you want to go or I?
I will take a one case study of
Sure.
this one is that everybody knows about the Saraswat Cooperative Bank.
Right.
Okay? In a scheduled in a cooperative bank, there is a called as ASP, called as the authorized service provider.
Sure.
In that provider, they have their smaller branch, rural bankers like Mahar Cooperative Bank, Lonavala Cooperative Bank, and so on. Okay? We have a very large base of this particular cooperative banks. Name the branch, name the bank of Chamra Vittal. I'm taking names because these are our customers and I'm not serving them. I'm serving a rural banking.
Okay.
What we did, like Siddharth and all that, we went to those banks. We call it as a Saraswat Infotech. Okay. We have showed them particular story, and they showed me, okay, fine, boss. But a lot of branches are not there on the connectivity. They are on a very, very small broadband or something like that. We went and we were given this solution. And right now, as of you're talking, they're actually started using Sd-Wan solution for their branch, for their sub branch.
Interesting.
Core banking software cannot be bought by everyone because it's very, very big software. It has to be bought by the ASPs like Chamra Vittal, Thane Cooperative Bank, or the Saraswat Cooperative Bank and Jalawa Cooperative Bank and so on. So, and they in turn give a license basis to their second band, right? Where the connectivity is very less. Raigad, you will not reach Raigad. I cannot take a fiber to Raigad, or the 5G is not come just now, like that. So I consolidated bandwidth and get it on Sd-Wan and do it. And those are the people actually. This is a very fine case study. Actually, we have done a POC which is working fine. Second is a logistic company. I don't know how many agility logistics the company which we are talking to, and it is again SME. Large company, Flipkart and all that, they are my voice customers.
Right.
But the mid companies like agility and all that, these are my data customers also.
Right.
So they are talking to us for connecting, because logistics is a big thing now because of Amazon and all that are tied up with these guys. I don't want to sell Amazon. I want to sell their logistic companies.
Right.
Delhi and all that services. They are my customers.
Right.
They are doing a fantastic job for the Amazon and Flipkart and anybody else.
Right.
And those are my customers connecting to 200. They are on my MPLS. They are talking to us for converting into Sd-Wan now.
Interesting.
It is a pure case study that.
Super.
Yeah.
Isharu, you want to add to that?
Yeah. So just a quick one. Our solution is not tailored only for large enterprise, right? We have broad and huge number of MSMEs and SME customers who are adopted, cutting across all the different verticals, just not specifically only for men. So as I said, the challenges and pain areas is cut across all the verticals. How do I seamlessly, securely access my apps and data? That's kind of one common problem, which is for all the verticals. So we have customers who was adopted from a 5-branch customer to a 5,000 branch customer. So nevertheless, and different critical areas, different critical ways they are looking at adopting to our technology. One is from the healthcare. We have a customer who has adopted to our technology from the healthcare, where it's a diagnostic center. And that diagnostic center has their patch systems in place, which is pictorial, archival, and control system, where the huge amount of data cannot be transmitted. How much MPLS you can able to provide from one end to the other end, it's just not practically possible. They have to store their customer data in one location, and they have some 100 and odd diagnostic centers across. What they have done, adopted to our technology, and seamlessly they could online have their data. The moment you have your CT scan done, it is on live streaming. You can say that it is all recorded at the central storage, and you as a customer have the link. The next moment you get an SMS, you click on it, your report and data is ready for you to go and show to the doctor. Likewise, I can just keep talking some of the largest I would say, when we say largest retail, every branch you will have 10 POS machines. Right. And you know how critical it is. Me as a customer, when I go, I cannot even wait for 5 minutes because their system is down. So it is a mission critical environment for them. And our solution has to be app aware and critical aware. Whichever the network at that point of time available, get the connectivity, get the application running, and that ERP should make the billing to satisfy your customer. You lose a customer today, it takes months and years for you to bring them back to your store again.
and it's expensive. It's very expensive, right? I mean, I think
Yes.
everybody is continuing to optimize their cost of customer acquisition, right? I think that's become a global challenge. But Raj, you're saying
Absolutely.
something.
Yeah. So just to add what Mr. Raman is saying, like I'm taking a names, like
Sure.
Policy Bazaar. Policy Bazaar is our one of the biggest customer. By the way, they are not large accounts. They are mid size accounts. Because the business model is like that.
Right.
They get funding out of them. So they are my one of the biggest MPLS customer. We are doing a POC for them because hybrid multi-cloud and hybrid technology is working for them. They are my customers of voice data and everything. So we are converting that into SD-WAN for people giving support to the people working from home and the people working from office to get a policy.
Lovely.
Yeah,
that's amazing, gentlemen. We are towards the end of our conversation, right? And I think how I want these conversations to go on, right? But I think in line with our the time limits that have been established, I'm not going to supersede that. My last question to both of you, right? Raj, I'll start it with you. What's the impact, right, that you want to create with this? What's the aspiration that you have with this partnership, right? What are the next 2.5 years like? And Mr. Chandra, I want to come to you right after this one. Raj.
Yeah. So our vision is we call it a faster, simpler, and closer. Behind there is a behind Siddharth, you can see that faster, simpler. You also faster, simpler, closer.
Right.
We want to reach 1.5 lakh logos in next 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
We already have a 30,000 plus logos.
Right.
More than that, I cannot reach with my standard products like MPLS or something like that. ILL, we do it. We want to reach with a large. If I want to reach, I have to adopt technologies like SD-WAN, smart telephony, that is a cloud telephony, and so and so. If I don't reach with, don't take these products along with the security, I will not able to do that. So I feel I have a big customer base in terms of using ILL and all other technology. I would convert that base into technologies like SD-WAN and all that, where I need a big help from Fortinet to take go ahead in life.
Interesting. Mr. Chidanam?
Yeah. So certainly, like a lot of analysts has come out with the way at which this SD-WAN is one of the fastest revenue and adoption technology in the whole of the IT industry, where they are estimating a 45% growth year-over-year, which is a CAGR, right? And the reason why it is because it is becoming inevitable, as I explained earlier, because of your IT landscape shift and all those things. Traditional SD-WAN is not going to work if I have to summarize some of the key important points, traditional SD-WAN is not going to help. You need a holistic, secure SD-WAN, which is an all-in-one solution, which can be easily adopted, and that's going to you can see the impact of adoption of this technology from both business perspective and also from the TCO reduction perspective. Right. In terms of customer adoption, while Siddharth mentioned during his presentation that we already have a 30,000 plus customer base across the globe who has adopted to our Fortinet secure SD-WAN. With this simplification coming in, with the partners joining hands along with us and taking this as a OPEX monthly model, because it should not be a burden for you to just go and buy technology adoption at a very higher cost. They are making it simplified and easier, and it's just not the cost of the device. They are taking care of the managed services, managing your SOC NOC and other activities simplified with their existing infrastructure in place. It's we are really bullish and optimistic that along with Raj we will join hands probably the 1.5 lakh customer base which Raj is mentioning about. We would be more than happy to have immaterial of how many branches, doesn't matter. The customer adoption of technology is matter, and customers foreseeing the value of technology adoption is really, really important. And that's the growth which we are looking at for our adoption in the customer environment.
Super. I think, gentlemen, thank you so much for doing this. Right, we will sort of it's been, like I said, it's been incredible to have each one of you with us, and where we discuss, the possibilities and of growth, the consistency and the resilience which is required, going forward, right? And I think what I clearly see, across this discussion is the requirement for businesses being agile, right? And the speed of for example, them to be able to respond, right? I think gone are the times where they could sustain on archaic systems. I think this is something which is very, very critical, which improves the user experience. That's just so much more important. And also, I think helps you calibrate better, decision making becomes faster. There's so many sort of amplifications of this, the kind of impact that it creates within the organization. Thank you so much for for doing this with us. While we were doing this, there were a bunch of Q&As, questions, right? Which were being asked by the audience, who's watching this. One question that we have, right, is, and Raj, I'll bring this to you, right? One of the common SD-WAN adoption challenges is vendor selection. What all should an SME look for while selecting the vendor, right? And this is something which is a very elementary question, right? Somebody who wants to do it is finding it challenging to, identify the partner, has possibly experienced something in the past, not necessarily very clear, right? So Raj, what will be your input?
Yeah, there are two types of technology or three types of technology in SD-WAN. What Mr. Raman said, that software-driven network, software-driven, at the site. What we have bring to the table is that software-driven OpEx model, which is very unique. Point number one. And I'm telling you how we pitch it.
Sure.
Second point is that SD-WAN box is available everywhere. If you go and how it's like buying a broadband box. I'm sorry, this is what I'm saying, but people can do that. But that is not a technology. That is not box. Is not a how you. Mr. Ramanan is mentioning very, very clear. Who is backing up? You can buy it from ISP. Okay. See why these cable operators are going back, and now I am buying whatever I'm talking to Tata broadband and all that. Sure. Why we are buying brand? Because of network. Okay, because of network and because of SLAs.
Right.
For me, SLA is a money. Okay. For me, the OpEx instead of CapEx depreciation is actually need to see, and TCO is very important.
Sure.
And Tata, if you are my existing customer, I'm just adding on it. I'm not selling something new to you.
Right. Interesting.
Okay. This is what I feel people should think and talk to the people who are actually they are working with all the services where they have experience with.
Interesting. And I think more importantly, Raj, I think when you are, for many promoters, business owners, right? This is not their core area of work, right? They need to have a structure which is responsive, responsible, and supportive, right? I think this is asking of things, and I think that's essentially the role that you are kind of picking up, right? Where you with the entire workforce network support, I think you're bringing that understanding, saying that, listen, we're here for you. I think which is just so much more important in an environment like this.
Just a few seconds, just to add.
Sure.
The CEO of the mid organization, they do not want to see a CapEx server. Even they don't want to see the APPX also in their premises.
Right.
Okay. They say, no, I don't want to see. That's what BCP, business continuity plan now is outsource and off premises.
Right.
Even we are not, we have given up a lot of offices. We are working from a WeWorks or the Workify,
Right.
Same thing. Somebody has to install their hardware and give them a service. They are not bothered about how much to send money and maintain that and maintain AMC for.
Interesting. Mr. Chidambaram, I have a question for you before we bring the session to a close. Cost reduction is also a benefit with SD-WAN. However, it sometimes is not quantifiable. Something that we've discussed through the course of our conversation, right? It's, from a promoter standpoint, they always look at a very consistent ROI, right? What's your take on this? How do you look at it, right? That measurement becomes very important in the entire scheme of things, right? What will be your answer to this question?
Yeah. So first of all, the ROI TCO come into the picture, when you are actually going and buying something upfront.
Right.
Here with TTSL, it's anyway a OpEx model. It's a monthly subscription managed services offering with the TTSL is providing. Number one. Number two is any kind of technology, I was in my earlier instinct, I was driving the whole virtualization, and I have seen customers come and look at tangible, intangible benefits. As Raj rightly mentioned, security is one area where you shouldn't be looking at ROI. It is a fixed cost. It's not a variable or a cost which you should even think of whether should I invest or not.
So interesting,
because it's a complete your business impact is what we are talking about. How do we secure your business, not your IT infrastructure alone? Because IT has gone a long way ahead. Immaterial of whatever the industry you belong to, IT is playing a very, very vital and critical role. When we are talking about securing your IT infrastructure, we are actually talking about securing your business.
Right.
So security is a very paramount activity, and we giving you the complete secure SD-WAN is something like, which I'm not saying that you shouldn't talk about. We do TCO, ROI, and satisfy our customers. We have seen customers where they have saved 60-70%. So what are the things which you should factor is just not MPLS to ILL or broadband migration conversion alone.
Right.
Think also on the point product investments which you are doing in branches, like the cost of your router, cost of your UTM device, cost of the SD-WAN adoption, and cost of the ZTNA solution in your branch. When you put all these things together, I always give this one analogy: 1+1+1 in a traditional methodology is 5. In our case, 1+1+1 is 3. So that 3 to 5 is the cost saving for customers, and that's how we prove the TCO ROI to the customers.
Interesting. Like I said, right, how I want these conversations to go on. These were the two key questions that we had. And I'm sure you would realize, right, by the end of it, the kind of handholding that the consumer today needs, right. Uh, this transformation is kind of flabbergasted a very large percentage of business owners, right, who have little choice but to adopt technology. Gentlemen, with that, I would love to, and I would like to bring this session to a close. Thank you so much for taking the time out. I think, like I said at the outset, business continuity and resilience is just so much more important. And I think, this time around, it's not a bottom up play. I think this entire pull is coming from the consumer's expectation, right? And we've become a very, very transparent ecosystem where the need and the requirement of products and services is changing, right? It's a transparent ecosystem where reputation is going to be very, very important. The fact that businesses cannot afford to do that will push and put a lot of pressure on the entire chain, right? And that will include the front-ending large players, the SMEs, MSMEs that are part of the cohort, which are supporting them to kind of handle that consumer side of the thing. I think it's going to be a massive rush in terms of adoption. I think what becomes important in the entire scheme of things is that identify and trust a partner who can understand your business and not necessarily deal and engage with players who have one or two limited offerings, and then you'll eventually land up facing the same problem. I think it is about very quickly getting your house in order to service the customer better. The requirements are different. We are actually at a cusp of massive consumption boom as an economy, right? We already has the aspiration. We're peaking right now. The good part is we're coming out of the woods, right? There's a little bit of a visibility, right? People are raging to come back to, going back to offices, getting back to normal. We've seen that. We are seeing all of that across numbers. It becomes important that businesses adopt to transformation much faster. They look at solutions which help them perform better going forward and deliver with transparency in an environment which is now becoming very transparent, homogeneous, where communication is visible, ecosystem is visible, people are making informed choices. It becomes important to transform much faster. Thank you so much for taking the time out and being a part of this. It was a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you, each one of you. Raj, it was a lot of points that you highlighted, a lot of case studies that you took us through have been amazing, right? And I think the role, like I said, through the course of a conversation, I think the role that you need to play is that of advocacy a lot more, right? And spend a lot of time, teaching and helping promoters understand what and how business continuity will look like in the next couple of years. Siddharth, you're a man with a mission. You're at the front of things, right? You are, you and working with Raj, enabling a lot of these enterprises. I think your role is equally important to evangelizing the cause of change. Mr. Chidambaram, I think there's some great work that you're doing. I think the products that you're bringing to fore and this partnership that you've kind of championed, I think are just so much more important to help businesses prepare for what they're going to be facing in the next 2.5 years, right? We're in very, very dynamic times. The aspirations, like I said, are changing. The expectations are changing, more importantly. We are getting into an economy which is now going to demand the best, right? I think gone are the days of inefficiency, gone are the days of where we could chalta hai attitude would have still helped businesses survive. I think we're in a very, very different place. Gentlemen, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.